Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. We're super excited to have you guys back again today, and actually we're going to be doing another sit down video.
We're going to be talking about reasons why you should not get married young.
These are actually things that we have gotten told. So today we're going to address just some things that people have told us, and also just some things that we've heard other couples have been told as well, just about getting married young. So the first one is you need to have more time just for yourself. Don't waste your single years. I would say that's definitely not true.
I feel like you can live your life or live it up, whatever you want to do, even if you're married, but you have a best friend to do it with.
Exactly. You definitely learn to appreciate the years you had single. Yeah.
I mean, I don't really enjoy going to a movie theater by myself, but
if you're married, then you have someone to
go together and enjoy it together.
But I feel like we've done a lot more things now that we're married versus when we were single in college. So
you're not mature enough. I don't know if I necessarily heard this one.
I did.
Personally, but maybe you did.
I did by a couple people. And I mean, to be honest, it's probably true. Like,
probably.
You're most likely not mature enough to be married. But the cool thing is that once you are married, it matures you. And you will step up to, if you're in it for the right reasons, you'll step up to the call and mature yourself. And actually, I've seen myself mature in the last 8 months of being married than I have probably my whole past couple years. I was gonna say high school, yeah. It's so much responsibility that gets thrown on you that you have to step up to it. And you know, you might be immature when you got married. I was very immature when we got married. Looking back now, I
had
see
a lot of room to grow.
I was not mature and ready for that. Number 3, I heard this one actually. You're gonna regret it.
I did too.
And
I don't know what you're gonna regret about it, but
yeah, they tell you you'll regret it, but I don't think there's been anything that we've really had that we've regretted. There's not really any basis to that. No, I feel a lot of people I heard it from, and that's all they said. There was no reasoning or backup behind it. It was just a state of the fact.
Number 4, finding yourself. You won't be able to
figuring
out yourself.
Yeah.
I guess.
Discovering who you are and what interests you have and what hobbies, etc. And
I don't find that true.
Yeah.
I feel like I've discovered myself a lot since we've gotten married. Basically, marriage just brings
really
all the flaws and all your imperfections to the surface. Yeah. And then you really get to know yourself.
I feel like if you are married, you have that person alongside you and they can kind of help you in some ways, but it makes it fun to find out who you are and what you're doing.
I've definitely enjoyed it. I mean, it's been hard, like certain parts of it, but it's definitely worth it.
5th reason people say you shouldn't get married young is priorities and hobbies change. Which I would totally agree with. Your priorities and hobbies do change. Part of that makes marriage exciting.
It does. It keeps
you on your toes. Yeah. And it's a good thing. Like sometimes you can get stuck in your hobbies and
just kind of like in a rut.
Yeah, in a rut of things you enjoy doing, and getting married can help you explore other hobbies that you never would have thought you enjoyed doing. Just learning to live with someone, like, that really changes your priorities, because if you're constantly focused on yourself and what you can get out of things and stuff like that, your marriage isn't going to succeed, and you'll find out very quickly it's going to be rough and bumpy and you're going to have constant arguments and fights. Priorities have to change in that way, where you have to put your spouse before you. Priorities and hobbies do change, but it's usually a lot of it, I would say, is for the better. And especially like the fact that we are young on top of that too, is we don't have a lot of like things we've been doing for a long time that we're stuck doing. Number 6.
Lost opportunities. People told me that I would lose the opportunity to do certain things because I get married and
like you can't follow your career.
Right.
But
I haven't found that to be true at all. I mean, I don't necessarily have a set career, but it really hasn't like stopped me from doing anything. I'm doing everything I've wanted to, and probably even doing more than I was planning to. It doesn't like change you into an old person overnight. Like
not that marriage changes you into an old person. I don't know what you were saying there.
No, people do. Like, people just assume that like now you're married, now you can't like
do fun things
anymore
young
because
people.
you're old now.
Yeah, you're married and But
that one might have a little bit of truth to it.
it does, but it's not really much of a reason not to get married young. Unless you are like really wanting to pursue something that you wouldn't be able to pursue.
Then it's probably best that you do pursue that.
If you're dating someone, make sure they understand that that's something that you want to
And that's your priority.
do and communicate about it, and then both of you can move on from there. Number 7, learning how to balance life. This one kind of bounces off a little bit what we have been talking about. But like balancing life in relationship to hanging out with other people, etc. Especially, I feel like in the single community, people just kind of do a lot of sporadic stuff, and
They don't really have like to check in.
there's
with
not
someone.
much planning involved, and there's not much responsibility to another person. So it kind of gives you a little bit more freedom. And I know people told me, they were like, dude, you're wasting your 20s, because I just turned 20 actually, and I told this friend, and I was like, hey, I'm getting engaged soon to get married. And this person told me, dude, you're wasting your 20s. Like, you have so much life ahead of you. Why get married now? You're not going to be able to hang out with your friends as much and like do all these fun things. And like, you're going to have to learn how to balance like your single life with your married life, because those two have to meld once you get married. And it's not like you get married and you can't hang out with your single friends.
No.
It just changes a little bit because you have to plan ahead. A lot of getting married young, I would say, has to do with planning, because I know when I was in school before we were married, like there was so much. I would just kind of do whatever whenever I felt like it, and it didn't really matter to me because I had nobody else to check in with, you know? And now being married, like, it's not that I have to check in, but I will check in because I want the other person.
It's appreciated.
Yeah, it's more of a check-in because you appreciate them and what they think and what they're doing. Learning to balance your life with friends, yes, it can be a bit of a stepping stone and a learning curve, but I don't think it's really a reason to not get married young.
No.
Our last one kind of ties in the first one. You don't get to experience life. And I think that's a very invalid reason, because you still are experiencing life.
Whether you're married or single.
Yeah, like married life is as similar or as different as single life as you make it. And yes, there are things that you can't change about it, but I feel like, you know, if you prefer that sporadic type of thing, some relationships run off that. Like, that's how they live, and they do great. Or maybe, you know, you want to experience life on a very nice, well-built schedule, and that's how your relationship works. And experiencing life, I feel like it can't be put into a box. A lot of these things too, as we were looking through them, were very selfishly viewed, I feel like.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the main things, but like one of the main things about getting married young is you have to realize that you are selfish, and that in order for your marriage to work well, you have to be unselfish. Selfless. Yeah. Especially to those of you who are young and looking at getting married young, take time to consider it, would be my advice. And don't worry about the pressures of other people. Don't worry about what other people think. Take into consideration the people who know you well and know who you are and how you work with people, because that can be very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's really good. Like, obviously pray about it and ask God for his opinion on the matter.
Yeah.
But like, talk it out with your partner and like seriously consider like what is best for us right now.
Yeah.
Whether that's staying single for longer or getting married.
I think it's really good to date looking ahead to marriage, because it really puts purpose into what you do, and it can help to keep you from a lot of drama and heartache. It's good to date to marry. And yes, marrying young, you probably aren't gonna be dating a whole lot of people.
I think getting married young is awesome because, number one, you can have a little bit of time before you have kids, or you can choose to have kids right away. But whatever you decide to do, you can still have kids at a younger age and be a grandparent when you're still pretty young. So either way, it works out really great.
Yeah, and like, I guess along that lines too, when you get married young, I guess this is kind of turned into a pros of getting married young as well video. Maybe we'll cut this out and make a second one just devoted to that. But if you're thinking about getting married young, don't knock it just because people tell you these things. Every single one of these things is not a valid reason to not get married young. If you guys want a video on what to do or what to consider when looking at getting married young, we can do a video of that. I'm sorry, my pen, I keep fidgeting with it and it like, I don't know if you guys can hear that. You probably can, the mic's picking it up. But anywho, those are the things that people told us why we shouldn't get married, and some of it's true, but most of it's not. So I hope this guy was encouraging to those of you who are looking at getting married young or in that season of life of dating and finding someone as a spouse.
Thanks for watching this video, and we hope to see you guys back in the next
You
one.
forgot to tell them everything.
What am I supposed to say?
You're supposed to tell them to like the video with a big thumbs up right below our video. Sorry, the camera died. It's okay. We love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. We do have a Patreon page. Our starting plan is $3 a month, so you just subscribe to that. $3 a month just helps us get the things we need to continue making our videos. We actually just bought a camera and a whole bunch of stuff, but anyways, video stuff is super expensive. So if you guys want to help us out in that way, that would be such a blessing. Yeah, thanks so much for watching our video. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye!